Hi everyone, Sailor Neptune, Michelle here. Sailor SeaWorld here. And today we're going to talk about did Dic and Pioneer handle the Unstraight right? Now, you're always going to hear a lot of folks in the Sailor Moon followership, or at least and say that, well, the Unstraight didn't get handled right in Sailor Moon. Now, I don't know if Sailor Moon was the first drawing show to have unstraight selves in it. I don't really know if there was or was not. So, and there's going to be some folks out there who think that, who think that it shouldn't have been done. That what Deke did and later on Pioneer did was not right. And that there are folks in the straight followership and the unstraight followership who wonder why it was ever done. Now, keep in mind, at the time that Deke got the rights to Sailor Moon, and at the time when Pioneer would get the rights, the mindset and stand of unstraight folks and children's shows, films, or plays was you can't do it. I mean, yes, you could. It wasn't like it was unlawful. It wasn't like it was that. But a lot of folks would frown down upon it. And a lot of folks would, think that it was a wrong thing to do. Now, we all know it's not. And I'm not here to say, well, first off, I'm not here to say that the mindset and stand that folks had at the time was the right stand to have. Now, keep in mind that a lot of things that may have been all right now was not all right back then. So when Deke got the rights to work with Sailor Moon, between 94 YL till between 98 YL, and Pioneer got the rights to work with Sailor Moon, between 99 YL to 2003 YL, the mindset and stand was not where it was. So you first take UNSIGHT, which the first thing that you might bring up was, why did they shift the spelling? Yeah, UNSIGHT really, at the end of the day, had her name shifted, the spelling of the name, but that wasn't the only thing. UNSIGHT and Malachite were unstraight, and every other offshoot of Sailor Moon drawing show at the time, except there were two oversteps. So I take it back, because apparently even in the Germis dub, or the North work of Sailor Moon, UNSIGHT was also shifted to a woman as well. So it wasn't only the English, it wasn't Deke that only did that to UNSIGHT, but others did as well. So UNSIGHT became a woman, and a lot of folks looked back at that and thought that that wasn't the right thing to do. Now, the grounds to why I just have a belief here, I have no truth is that I believe Deke thought that that would be just too much for anyone watching Sailor Moon and the 4-1 Reichs in the Setterland at that time, and thought that, all right, UNSIGHT needs to become a woman, because some folks out there might, get angry about that. And they might start, calling up WB or UPN or whatever and say, oh, sorry, and start making such a big deal about it, where UPN and WB would just have to say, sorry, we can't do it. Now, if you think that Deke was the only one that did it, you would also be sadly mistaken. Pioneer ended up doing it 2 times as well, maybe 3 times. Where Deke only had to deal with UNSIGHT, Pioneer had to deal with Sailor Uranus, Sailor Skyworld, Mara, had to deal with me, Sailor Neptune, Sailor SeaWorld. We became nearkin. Why? Who knows? But they had to come up with some grounds for our kinship, to why we were always around each other, or why we were always, that may have been it. I don't know. a lot of folks saw through that. But if you thought that that was it, you would be sadly mistaken to also learn that some folks said that fisheye, or also fish's eye, because there really is no big unlikeness between the name, and said that fisheye was a unstraight man who liked to clothe himself in women clothing. Now, I don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's not what they got. And even if that was true, Pioneer made Fisheye a woman under the same grounds that Zoisite became a woman. Now, Zirconia was a woman, but Pioneer made Zirconia a man. So, and a lot of folks bring this up as, hating against the unstraight. I don't know if it was, I don't know if that was the mindset behind it. I truly do not know. All I know is it was done. And nowadays, a lot of folks need to be saying, well, why does Viz didn't have to do any of that? Because by the time Viz got the rights to work with all the Sailor Moon things, the mindset, the stand of what you could and could not do in children's shows has shifted. Nowadays, it is now all right to have an unstraight self in a show or film or a play for children. It is all right. Nowadays, it is all right, and is also seen as, as the right thing to do. And there are a lot more folks that are more open-minded, trusting, and understanding of it, and with dealing with the unstraight and things like that. Now, that does not mean to say that there are still folks out there that are against that. Against that, there are some. Itch, scratch, fuck. Now, that does not mean to say there are still not folks that are still not against. That are still against it. There are. And a lot of folks seem to think that was, a lot of folks will take it the wrong way, and they'll think why, and they'll wonder why Viz and why Dic and Pioneer did that. And they'll wonder why Viz never had to do anything with it. Because by the time Viz got the rights to work with Sailor Moon, the mindset and stand had shifted. So now there was more trusting, more understanding, going on. The learning about folks, about being unstraight, what it was and what it was not. And nowadays, having unstraight selves in a show, film, or play for children is all right, as long as there is all right. So that's why it is what it is. How it is now. Back then, it wasn't that wasn't really true, but nowadays it is. Now, a lot of folks out there might also wonder, what was the straight followership and the unstraight followership's take on all that going on at that time? Well, I don't really know. It has to do with whoever you talk to, because everyone had their own mindset, their own stand, their own take, their own thought, and their own belief on it. So everyone's thought and belief and stand and take was going to be unlike. I don't know. Nowadays, I guess a lot of folks have their own belief, their take, their thought on how it was handled back in the day, and if they thought it was handled right or they thought it was handled wrong. The only grounds to why I can come up with to why Dic and Pioneer did what they did at the time they did is they were frightened of someone, getting irked or angered over seeing that in a drawing show for children, and then calling UPN or WB up or USA up or Cartoon up or YTV up and telling them that they didn't like it, and made such a big deal out of it that UPN and WB and Fox and USA and Cartoon and YTV would just pull the show off. So I believe that is why Dic and Pioneer had to shift the unstraight folk. And I think that I think it could have been a lot worse, you know, and I believe that's why it was done. All right, give me your thoughts on how you fought the unstraight folks, for how you fought Dic and how you fought Dic Glee and Pioneer Glee handled the unstraight folks in Sailor Moon, you know, and also like this film. I, Sailor Neptune, Sailor SeaWorld Michelle, and I'll see you later.